When you were a child, did you hide a book you really wanted to read inside a more appropriate book? Maybe it was a comic book hidden inside a science book. Many of us have done this daring deed. When I was a child, I hid a book I really wanted to read inside a more appropriate book. But in my case, I hid a science book inside of a comic book. Because in my family, science and any intellectual pursuit was highly discouraged and deemed of the devil. The punishment for being caught with a science book was a beating. So why would I dare a chance of beating just to read a science book? Because when I was a child, science was my passion. I was enthralled with it. It was magical. It was incredible to me that everything, and I mean everything, involved science. When I realized that, the world was never quite the same again. I remember one time when I was in grade 7, coming home from school, and I felt a slight breeze on my skin, and I stopped to wonder if fish can feel the water move against their skin, scales, the way that we feel air moving against ours. And with water being heavier than water, there'd be more resistance. So how did the fish deal with the extra resistance as they tried to move through the water? And as I was thinking, I passed a bakery and I could smell those wonderful smells coming out of a bakery, and I wondered if the water would hold smells for fish the way the air held smells for us. And were the fish aware of the smells and what they meant? Were the fish aware at all? Were they consciously aware of who they were and where they were and what was going on around them? And all these thoughts were tumbling in my mind as I crossed the threshold of the house, only to be hit in the head with the words, "You're late," ringing in my ears. My father asked me why I was late from school, and before I could even stop to think about it, I started pouring out all these ideas about fish and water and consciousness. The next hit sent my school books sprawling across the floor, and out popped the science books. Over the years, science was beat out of me, and I became silent to my passion. It wasn't until I was 40 years old that I dared to rekindle my passion for science, with my family and father no longer an obstacle. I dared to attend university for the very first time. 2 weeks after I turned 41, my first class started, and I completed my undergraduate degree, a 4-year degree in 3 years, a double major in physiology and psychology, with honors and with the gold medal. I skipped over the master's level and jumped right into a PhD program and completed that in 4 years in biomedical sciences. But I had a PhD, but there really wasn't any time to celebrate. I had to jump into my postdoctorate fellowship. And 3 years later, I had the opportunity to start teaching undergraduate science. I was in science heaven. I'd realized my dream because I had dared to rekindle my childhood passion. So tell me, what passion did you hide in your books when you were a child? And when would be a good time for you to start rekindling the dreams that you hid in a more appropriate book?